Hi guys, I hope you are having a wonderful morning this morning. So today we are going to work on our third in our I Am series. So today we're going to talk about when Jesus says, I am the light of the world. I hope that you certainly enjoy this with us and stick with it. The video will be a little bit longer. There's a longer discussion with this one, but I think it is worth it. So as always, we start out with our highs and our lows. And my high is that I have a house full of 7 people and there's a lot of hustle and bustle. And I am truly enjoying having everybody home because I don't usually have this anymore. I used to, but a lot of them grew up. So, or at least went to college. So I'm glad to have them back. My low is probably for those individuals who are very worried and concerned, who have been exposed to the virus, for those individuals who are in the healthcare field and maybe are feeling very stressed and overworked, for people who are scared, who are frightened to go out. I know when I go to the grocery store or places or to a gas station or whatnot, it seems like there's a lot of frightened people out there. Also for kids who are not at school, who are missing their friends, individuals who are financially strained because their jobs, they've been laid off or their companies are temporarily closed for the moment. So that is my worry, is the darkness that seems to be creeping in for an awful lot of people surrounding this COVID-19. And it's people of all ages. And so that would be my low for the day. But I think our Bible verse and what we're talking about today is very, very relevant considering everything that's going on in the world. So that's why this video will be a little bit longer and there'll be a little bit more talking involved in it. So bear with me if you have little ones there, you may have to kind of re-explain or talk about it a little bit more. So our Bible verses that we're going to read today are out of the International Children's Bible. I feel like it's a little more inclusive because the language is just a titch bit easier. So our very first verse we're going to read is from John, and it is from chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. Before the world began, there was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. All things were made through him. Nothing was made without him. In him there was life. That life was the light for the people of the world. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overpowered the light. Our next verse is from John chapter 8, verse 12. Later, Jesus talked to the people again. He said, I am the light of the world. The person who follows me will never live in darkness. He will have the light that gives life. So I want to focus on a couple things where he says, I am the light of the world, and the person who follows me will never live in darkness, and he will have light that gives life. So there's a couple different things that the people who he was talking to at that time probably thought of. One of them was the Festival of the Booths, and this was a festival that would last days, and there was a lot of feasting and joy and happiness. And with this festival, there were a lot of tents. Festival of the Booths is just another word for tents. So there were a lot of tents, and at night, people would light lamps. So you would see light all around where all of the people were for this festival. But on top of that, you would see 4 giant candles. They were 75 feet high. And they weren't technically candles. They were big, giant, and probably if they were 75 feet high, they were giant bowls of oil that they would light on fire. And these were like beacons in the sky, and people could see them from very far away. And they would follow the light to be able to get to the festival so that they could worship God, and so they could be in community, and so they could find that freedom and that beauty that came with their faith. The other thing that people probably thought of was the pillar of fire. So Moses, he helped the Israelites. Well, let me say that differently. So Moses did what God said, and then was able to help the Israelites with God to help them to escape out of Egypt and out of slavery. So as Moses is leading them across the desert, they were following a pillar of fire at night. Now, during the day, this was a pillar of clouds, but at night, this was a giant pillar of fire. So it was something that people were able to see from far away, because there were a lot of people. And it was leading them from slavery or from darkness into freedom, into light, and into joy, essentially. So these are two things that people would have resonated with people. And with us, when we hear, I am the light of the world, we think of when we wake up in the middle of the night and it's dark and we turn on our light, and then it's not as scary and it's not as frightening. But there's other ways that we have darkness in our world as well. When people become very worried or very scared or start to become depressed or upset, sometimes we just want to stay in our bed under the covers and huddle away in that darkness. But Jesus, being the light, tries to bring us out of that depression. And there's a few different ways that Jesus helps us to do that. So one thing is that God puts us in community with each other. So when we are feeling very worried and very upset, and this could be something as simple as, I really miss my friends, and that can be a pretty serious concern. Or I'm upset that I've lost my job, or I'm really scared I'm going to get sick. All of these things are incredibly valid, and it's important to talk about it and to find people in community and connect with them. It's okay to feel these things. It's okay to acknowledge it. In fact, I think it's important to acknowledge it and talk to people and not try to hide away in the darkness. Bring it into the light so that everybody sees and hears and talks and understands each other and are able to support and walk with each other. And if you are able to walk with people while they are scared or frightened or in darkness, you may be that light in the world that Jesus has sent to help them. So do that if you can. There are some other things we can do where Jesus is the light. So in our first passage, the Bible told us that God is the Word, and the Word was born into light. Maybe I need to reference that back again. So the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning, and all things made through him. Nothing was made without him. In him there was life. The life was light for the people of the world. I think I missed a few sentences in there. What do you think? So the Word is life. Life is light. This is the Word. So we can go to our favorite Bible verses, our Psalms. We can go to different parts of the Bible and read it, remember it, focus on it, meditate on it, maybe free write about it in our journals, draw pictures about it. We can listen to songs where it is sung and find joy in it. And all of these things will give us comfort and remind us that Jesus is the light of the world and that we do not have to be in darkness. So you can also do prayers, meditations, lots of prayers out there. Or always do prayers at 6:18 at night with Pastor Zach, and at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I give different tips and hints on different kinds of prayers. And connecting with God will also help to bring us out of this darkness through those meditations, those prayers, going out in nature, seeing people, even if it's from across the yard, and waving, and even silently in your head, giving them a blessing and blessing them. These are all ways that we can start to feel better and see the light that is God. And that light will take us out of this darkness. So now that I'm done with the very long talking part, let's talk about what game you can play. Do you guys remember the game Red Light, Green Light? So you have a leader. When the leader says green light, people get to try to catch the leader. But the leader can say red light, and then everybody has to stop and not move. And if you move, you go back to the start. And whoever reaches the leader wins and gets to be the leader the next time around. So play red light, green light. So let's finish with a prayer. And don't forget at the end of the prayer to do blessings. Be sure to bless your parents. Parents, bless your kids, and bless everybody in between. So my prayer for you is that those of you who feel that darkness creeping in, whether because of financial reasons or worries about work, about illness, about healthcare workers, finances, just even the stress of just a different schedule and things being so confusing right now during this time. My prayers are with you, and that you are able to come out of the darkness and find the light of the world through Jesus. Amen. Blessings to you.